Oh, oh man, that hurt. Oh, that hurt. Oh, you don't ever want to put your foot down on this bike. Today, I'm going to practice a new technique that I found on YouTube. Looks very impressive to me. We shall see how it works. Honestly, I'm pretty scared to try it. It involves turning and not, I'm going to start the bike here, not controlling the handlebars, just letting the handlebars turn naturally to where they want to stop. And then the thing that really controls the angle of the handlebar, at least in theory, put her in drive, there we go, is just the speed of the motorcycle. So I'm going to see if I have the nerve to do that. Just let the bike turn on its own. Oh, she wants to turn pretty easily. Let me interject here just for the sake of clarity. What I'm talking about here as I'm riding is a video made by a French YouTuber. I won't attempt to just pronounce his name here because I don't think it helped me very much, but I'll put a link in the description below. And what this guy is doing, and it's impressive as heck, is he's riding around a parking lot on a smallish motorcycle, although he can do the same thing on just about any bike. He's riding around with no hands on the handlebar, and he's making tight U-turns. He can do a figure eight in, she's not much more than a parking space or two. So it's very, very impressive. But what I figured out from this video is what he's pointing out is that when you lean the bike, the handlebars and front wheel will rotate to the point where they balance out the sort of combination of leaning, speed, and the radius of the turn that you're doing. So they'll turn until they balance, and they won't turn any more than that. If you slow down, the turn tightens up, and if you speed up, the turn will open up. So that's what I'm attempting to do here. And it takes quite a bit of nerve, I got to tell you, to be honest, to just take your hands off the handlebars and lean over on a motorcycle and trust that it's going to turn up to a certain point and not any farther. But in fact, that's what I'm finding as I practice at this. Resisting. Now, if I let her turn sharper, all I got to do is slow down. I'm going to use the brake maybe a little bit here. She turns in really. Alright, I'm still. Alright. Let's try both directions here. Really wants to turn in. Alright, I'm resisting the bike's turning still a little bit. If I lean. Alright, that's without me steering. If I back off at all, she turns in quite hard. Alright, I'm a little nervous on the throttle, so I'm jerking a little bit. Alright, letting the bike turn on its own. Alright, if I pick up speed, she straightens out. If I slow, she really turns in. Alright, let's try letting her lean on her own. It's a pretty good turn. Alright, gonna just lean a little bit. I don't know what that sound was. Alright, so now let's change our viewpoint and take a look at what this looks like from outside. This will give you a better idea of the speed, lean angles, and the radius of the turns I'm making. Some of the turns tighten up pretty well here as I'm learning to slow down and let the bike turn tighter, but by and large the circles are still quite large. But I'm working up to turning it as tight as I dare, and as you'll see in a little bit here, I end up tightening up a little too far, at least for my comfort. In that time, I probably need to counterbalance. I'm taking really wide turns. It's better. That was nice. Woof, boy, she tightened right up there. Alright, smooth. Boy, hard to be smooth on this throttle, really hard. Turns right in when you slow down. If you lift the throttle, she turns right in. Still taking really wide turns, but they feel much more stable. That one was almost good if I had the courage. Ooh, she really tightens up if you let her slow down. Alright, I'm taking wide turns, but I still think this is better. Feel much more stable. You can see at the end there the turns really tighten. Pretty good. Almost. Turns are not tighter, but they are much less stressful. I got to go easier on that throttle. Getting a little more comfortable. Oh, jeez, it's still going to be hard to turn this thing around in 2 lanes. I know I'm not leaned over nearly enough. I've practiced for quite a while now, and I'm starting to get the turns significantly tighter here. And again, I'm still trying to not really turn the handlebars, but just lean and allow the handlebars to turn in as far as they need to in order to balance the bike. But pretty soon here, I end up making a mistake that cost me at least several days of quite a bit of discomfort. I leaned just a little too far one time, and I can't resist putting my left foot down. And what happens is, what I know will happen, it's just that the bike is going to run over my foot and put a lot of pressure on it. So that happens at exactly this point, and you can see actually the bike bump up in the air or sit up a little straighter as it runs up and over my foot, and again led to several days of quite a bit of discomfort. It doesn't run over it in the sense of the tires running over it, but what happens when you put your foot down on one of these Goldwings is, of course, as the foot moves back, what happens is you run up against a bumper back at the rear of the bike, or maybe it's the saddlebag. I'm not entirely sure what it is that you hit, but basically the bike then drives your heel and runs right up over your foot and drives your heel down into the pavement. And what it does is fold your foot forward to a very uncomfortable point, which hurts your toes and the ball of your foot quite a bit. So that was my big mistake, and it ended up costing me several days, maybe up to a week or so of pretty sore foot. But I tried to continue for a while, and I continued making some pretty darn tight turns, but eventually it was time to call it a day. So that's it for today's session. I appreciate your watching, and I hope you'll join me for the next session. There'll be a link in the description below. Boy.